There we go. All right, Max, how are you doing?
Doing well today. How are you doing today, Bill?
I'm doing great. It's been a busy day, but we actually have some decent weather here in Colorado for a change.
Oh,
We've had
for sure. You know,
a bit of
it's
stinking rain.
yeah, no, it's been sunny here all day. It's around like it was not like 75 or so. And like about 20 minutes ago when I was setting all this up, it started like doing a sun shower. It was super cool.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, at
Nice.
least it was only that. It wasn't you're out in the plains there. I know it can get pretty nasty out there, so at
Gets
least it
hairy
wasn't one of
sometimes.
those.
Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
hairy sometimes for sure.
Yeah. Have you had much tornado action when you've lived out there?
I haven't personally. I mean, I've heard stories and stuff. The story goes when my great grandma was sitting in the kitchen doing dishes and she looked up and she's like, "Oh, there's a tornado." So they went to the basement and waited out and it was fine. That's the one tornado story my family has. But that's
Oh,
about it.
really?
Yeah.
I can actually tell you a story of a tornado in downtown Denver. I mean,
Really.
I literally looked up and there was a tornado like right over my head, and I was
Wow.
in an office building in Denver. So,
Not
um,
ideal.
no, not ideal. Well, fortunately, it was pretty well. It was up there, so it
Okay.
was okay. So things
Yeah,
worked
that's
out.
good.
Yeah. So, just you're out in Holyoke, which I would bet most people, even in Colorado, couldn't point at a map of the state and figure out where Holyoke is. Why don't you describe to folks where that is?
So if y'all know Sterling, Colorado, so
Probably
it
not to most people, but yeah.
okay.
Okay. So
Fort Morgan maybe.
you go at I-76 and you go past.
I-76
Yep.
for like two hours or so. And there's a little city called Sterling, Colorado. You get off at that exit. You start. Ooh, sorry, sorry about that. My dad's scanner. How do I turn it off? Phillips County scanner. It's like you get the action to the town.
Ooh, there's action tonight. Ooh.
Apparently, I mean, I'm gonna miss it now, but
Oh man, that's a bummer.
it's all good. No, but so you get on I-76, start heading east towards Sterling, Colorado, and Sterling. If there's an exit, get off Sterling, hit on Highway 6 for about an hour or so, and you end up in Holyoke. So it's almost to Nebraska. Like
Right.
if I look out this direction at my window, I can some days on a very clear day I can see the sign that says "Welcome to Nebraska."
Oh, okay. I was gonna say there's nothing else to see, so if you
There's
can see a sign, that's good.
flat for miles,
Yeah,
miles.
right.
Down south there's some sand hills, but that's about it.
Right. All right. And what's the population of Holyoke?
So Holyoke's a it's a small town. I mean it's 2,500 or so according to Google last time I checked, but
Right.
I think I've seen everyone in Holyoke at least once. So
Yeah. Oh, well, you have to have. Yeah. And
pretty
you
small.
realize you guys are not as big as Cherry Creek High School.
No. Yeah,
Right.
the entire town is smaller than like most high schools.
Yeah, oh, yeah, exactly. It's pretty crazy, So here's something funny. I grew up in New York City, so
Mhm.
we're just the opposite, basically. Um, I, you know what claustrophobia is, right?
Yes.
People are
Yeah.
fearful getting closed in. I actually have, I don't know what the word is for it. There must be a word. I get nervous driving out on the plains out your way. I mean, it's too
Really?
wide open. I get
Too
really
too much
jittery.
stuff?
Well, this is not enough stuff. I
Oh,
mean,
not enough stuff. Oh, oh,
yeah,
oh.
there's just nothing there. I go out there and it's like there's no trees. I mean, like no building. Give me like a billboard, anything.
Something to look at.
I get jittery when things are so wide open. I don't know what the word for that is, but
For sure. No, I mean I drive down to Yuma sometimes for my club team and that's a boring drive. I'll give you that. That's a boring drive.
is it how
Just
long does it take?
nothing. Yuma's about an hour and a half south or so. I
Oh
mean,
wow,
a little
that's a
west, a little
ways.
south. I
Yeah,
mean, everything is about like either 30 minutes to an hour and a half away from here. So
yeah,
that's not too much.
right, right.
Hour and 20. I'll give you an hour and 20. I'll give it
Yeah.
that. But
All right. And so do you go to Yuma for nightlife? Is that the deal? Like that's where the big
no,
thing?
that was just my club team over like last
Okay,
summer
gotcha. All
for
right.
sure.
Well, cool. And Holyoke is a Class 2A school, so
Yes,
it's
sir. Class
not the
2A.
smallest classification.
Mhm.
There is 1A track in Colorado, a 2A. So what's how big is the school? How many students do you know?
So I think I last time I remember, I think our district is around like 300, like our entire district K
Yeah,
through
it's
12.
K through 12, right? So like
Yeah.
how big was your graduating class?
So I just graduated
Yeah.
last May. My graduating class was like I think it was 42.
Woohoo. All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I knew everyone and everyone knew me. Like everyone knew everything about everybody.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
so even though, like I say, I'm kind of a city kid, I mean, I've
mhm,
coached at schools every level, 5A down 4A, 3A, 2A. I used to
yeah.
coach at Platte Canyon,
Okay.
which was is up in Bailey, and
Hmm.
it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's about the same size.
Yeah.
Their graduating classes were about the same as yours, and it was the same thing. Everybody knew everybody in town pretty much. And
Oh, for sure.
one thing I really liked there was there wasn't a single fast food restaurant in that town, so I knew the kids weren't going out and getting evil lunches.
We have a Subway.
All right,
That's it. We have a Subway, but
you could do a lot worse than Subway, so that's good.
absolutely, yeah. We have a
Yeah,
Subway in like 4 Mexican restaurants and the Quick Stop and a coffee shop, and that's the restaurant life in Holyoke.
that's it, huh? How many
Yeah,
how many stoplights are there?
one.
One. All right.
Highway 6 and Highway 385 right there. I mean,
Nice. All right.
yeah, one stoplight. There's a lot of stop signs occasionally. I'd say a lot, but it's not really a lot. There's a few stop signs, one
Right.
stoplight. I mean,
Oh, geez. That's
yeah,
great. I love it, man. That's fantastic.
it's a good
But
place
it
to
sounds
be.
like you have generations of family that lives there, huh?
Absolutely, yes. No. So I think it was my great great grandpa moved out here, had my grandpa. My grandpa grew up here. Um, had my dad. My dad grew up here. He had two brothers, John and Mitch, and Matt. Matt's my dad.
Right.
John, Mitch, Matt, and they all grew up here. They all graduated from Holyoke. They moved away for a little bit, and when I moved back here, our family was actually the last one to move back out here by like 3 weeks. Like we all were moving back around the same time.
Wow.
So it's really cool to like have a bunch of family in town, and like it's super neat. I'm I guess fourth generation Cleve in Holyoke.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I'm not entirely sure on that fact, but I'm one of the many generations of Cleves in Holyoke, and
Wow.
it's great.
Is there
It's great.
anything named after your family there since you guys are kind of,
No, no,
no?
there's not. No. I mean,
Okay.
the
So
thing is
here's
though,
my proposal.
everyone in Holyoke's been generational. Like Holyoke's a
Really?
generational town.
Oh, okay. I was going to say you
Yeah.
should have at least a Cleve Street, but maybe,
No,
maybe
not
we take a tractor. I know you guys got tractors out there.
quite.
Pile up a bunch of dirt, make it the highest point in the town, and call it Mount Cleve.
I like that idea. We have our a little loader out front. We can get that going.
Yeah,
That'd be good. That'd be good. Maybe like at the fairgrounds, like that'd be fun. Yeah.
absolutely. You can ride dirt bikes over it or something. So
Pretty good.
I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here,
Oh,
but
for
like,
sure, for
you
sure.
plan to like settle down and like you gonna go off to college or whatever and come back and live in Holyoke again?
I mean, if it works out, yes, I'd love to
Yeah.
live back down in Holyoke. I mean, I want to be a history teacher, and
Oh,
there's always
cool.
teachers everywhere needed. I mean, right now at Holyoke, we have two history teachers. So I mean, if a position opens up by the time I graduated college, I'd love to come back. Absolutely. I mean, I love it here. Everyone's so supportive. Everyone loves each other.
Right.
There's ups and downs, but there's way more ups than there are downs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned to me before we got on that the town's actually been growing there. I mean, it doesn't sound like a big number, but it's like a 10% amount of growth there recently. I mean, I know a lot of towns out on the plains have worried about like dying off. The young people
Yeah.
move out and never come back, but it sounds like Holyoke has got some sort of draw that gets people coming in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is a draw, and I think the draw is the community itself because we don't have anything cool, right? I
Right?
mean, we have the courthouse, like that's like our like one of the big main buildings, right? Because we are the county seat, right? Phillips County seat. But I mean, there is a draw to Holyoke, and I think Holyoke's draw is just the fact that the people, like
Yeah.
everyone's so nice here and everyone's so supportive. Um, yeah, no, from the last census, I think it grew around 10% or so. So I mean, it's not a whole lot of number, but what's the word? Proportionally, it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So I remember this is kind of would be a funny question. I have a friend who I visited him in Moore, Oklahoma one time,
Okay.
and it's like halfway between Oklahoma City and Dallas. And I said to him, I said, I just noticed that like there aren't any restaurants in this entire town. I said, so where do the high school boys take their prom dates for dinner?
So we do actually. Oh, there's another restaurant I did mention earlier. We have a restaurant called Thompson's, and it's run by one of the families now, one of the Thompson family, and
Okay.
it is some of the best food I've ever had. It is so good. Like,
Yeah.
and
What
that's
kind of
I mean,
food?
it's like just like burgers and stuff, but it's like
Okay.
really good burgers and stuff.
Right.
Burgers, fries. Their fried pickles though, immaculate.
Yeah.
Have you ever had fried pickles?
Oh yeah.
They're so good. No, but like Thompson's. I mean, for our prom though, we have like a dinner, like attached to the prom. That's like part of the
Oh,
entrance
okay.
cost for prom. There's like a dinner, then the grand march, then the prom itself. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
So yeah, I was just kind of concerned about this, that you're going to have to take your prom date to Subway. So
No, not Subway for sure.
yeah, okay.
If you're going to Subway on a date in Holyoke, something's wrong. Like something with your relationship or something, or your money's tight. I don't even know, but
Or it's not going anywhere,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Wow. So you got to take them to Thompson's, or you are just dirt.
Thompson's or just take him to Sterling. I mean, Sterling's only an hour away. Like it's not
There
that
you
bad a
go.
drive.
Yeah. You just have to make conversation with this new date for an hour to get there. So hopefully you can manage that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This when I asked my friend in Moore, Oklahoma, he said, "Well, they go to the what was it? The Cracker Barrel over by the interstate." You know, it's like,
Uh, very
okay,
classy. Very
yeah, very
classy.
classy. Oh yeah. So I'm glad you got Thompson's there. That's good.
Oh, for sure. Thompson's. It's pretty new as well. It used to be called the Skillet, and then they went out of business, and Thompson's bought it up. It's been going for about 2 years or so now. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
pretty
the
good.
skillet. That sounds like a good plainsy kind of
That's what it was.
restaurant
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Very cool. All right.
Mhm.
So, what do you guys do out there? I mean, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about, you're very active with Future Farmers of America. I mean, do
Yeah.
you guys
FFA.
have,
Yes, sir.
does your family have a farm there?
Yes. No, actually, we live on a farm.
Okay.
So I guess the farm's really across the street, but we live on farmland.
Right.
So we actually just built this house and we bought two sections across the road on the field so we can build our
Right.
house and stuff like that. No, we do live on a farm. I lived east of Holyoke even more actually. So I'm even closer to Nebraska than the rest of Holyoke is.
In the suburbs of Holyoke. Okay.
Not even like just middle of nowhere of Holyoke.
Okay. All right.
But 10 miles east. So like I mean, I look out my window and I see fields of wheat, right?
Yeah.
Um, I do live on a farm. We have cattle. We used to have pigs. Every fair time we have goats, and yeah, no, it's a farm. I'll give you that. It's a farm.
It's a real life farm.
Real
Okay.
life, genuine farm.
Nice. And so your major crop though was wheat.
Corn. Corn's our major
Corn.
crop. Our corn's grown down south even more though. So 10 miles
Gotcha.
east, 10 miles south. That's where our corn's grown. That's where our irrigation is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
do have some dry land occasionally, but this year should have been pretty good for our dry land corn because it's been raining so much.
God, yeah, I bet, this is one of those few times because you guys have probably been in pretty bad drought until this year, right?
Yeah. No, my entire high school career it rained maybe like 25 times. And then like this summer it's rained like almost every day.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
crazy, but
So
it's
is it
so
too
good
much
though.
rain?
No, no. Never too
Okay.
much rain. Never too much rain.
All
Never going to
right.
complain
That's
about the
good.
rain.
Right. Okay. So is this the kind of corn that I will find at the farmer's market here in Denver, or is it like more like feed corn or
It's more like feed corn. You know,
okay.
there's a couple families in town who grow sweet corn, but it is feed corn made for cattle or fuel or whatever, right?
Right.
It's that kind of corn, different variety, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Mhm,
that's awesome. All right.
mhm, mhm.
So you are let's talk you're very active with Future Farmers of America. That is
Yep, the
a
FFA,
big
yes,
thing
sir.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I snooped on your Instagram, saw you you're talking about the blue corduroy jacket,
yes,
and
sir.
so I don't know anything about, besides the fact that FFA stands for Future Farmers of America, and uh
Fun fact, it actually doesn't anymore.
really.
In 1980, they changed that. In 1980, like before 1980 was the Future Farmers of America, and they
Yeah.
just like and then, but then after that, they like 1980 started like think about they're like, hey, what about like we talk about like how it's more than just farmers and agriculture because FFA as a whole is an agricultural education like association or whatever, like a club if you will, but it's
Yeah.
about like agricultural education. So they just changed it to FFA because everyone kind of knew it went at that point, but it's more I guess inclusive to all types of agriculture, not just farming.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but
I thought
no,
maybe so we got like political correctness in here and we had to like, oh, well, we're picking on farmers here, so
no,
we
that's
got
not
to
that's not quite it. No, no.
okay.
Um, but no, it's I was a part of FFA from what was it my freshman year. I actually had an ag class my eighth grade year, and I was the last class in Holyoke to have an ag class eighth grade year because it was like a exploratory time or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, ag, and you had like the FCC like facts stuff, like the family side. So you had ag and the family side, and it was a semester of ag, semester of family, and I was the last class my ag teacher's gonna have taught for 5 years instead of four,
Hmm,
which is really
okay.
cool.
Yeah.
No, but I've been a part of FA ever since my freshman year. It was been a huge part of my life. I've met so many good people. I it's it's such a cool feeling. And I like the blue jacket, right? That it sounds dumb, but to me, that's like one of the, like the most valuable pieces of clothing I own. And I won't ever put it on again, but I'll keep it for sure. Because it
So,
just
so what's
represents so
why
much.
can't you put it on again?
Because I'm not a member anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, I could, right? But it's part of the official dress, right? With the white tie, the FFA tie. I mean, the white shirt, the FFA tie, black
Okay.
slacks, black shoes, and the FFA jacket. And that's been the official dress since like forever.
So I mean, like you couldn't be like go back and be like a mentor to high school kids and wear that jacket or anything, or have reunions or something, or
I could, you know,
yeah.
but if I'm not wearing it for a reason, then it doesn't quite feel right for me, I guess.
All right.
Right. But
Why a blue corduroy jacket? What's the significance to that?
I heard the story at the state convention last week, actually. So it was some chapter. It was a chapter like when it first started in 1928. Um, it was like one of the advisors like bought these blue corduroy jackets for his chapter because he thought they were really cool, and they went to national convention, and everyone else thought they were really cool. So it's like, hey, we're all gonna get blue corduroy jackets, and it's gonna be our thing. And like it just has like so much history and like tradition involved, and it's such a cool feeling to wear that jacket
Cool. All
for
right.
sure.
So you just went to, what was it, a state convention in
Yes,
Pueblo?
sir.
Was that it?
Yep, in Pueblo State Convention.
Nice.
Yeah, state FFA convention. It was the 95th one, I think. It was, yeah,
Wow.
super cool.
Yes.
It was one of the best experiences of my life. Yeah, no, I got to be a delegate for my chapter at the state level, so like help make decisions for the organization and change bylaws or whatever we had. The business was to be conducted. We conduct the business there. But I also got to do the fun part. I play guitar, so I got to play guitar on stage
Wow.
at the convention in front of like 2,000 people. That was one of the coolest experiences of my life because I was singing "Something in the Orange" by Zach Bryan, and
Oh
that's a
yeah.
song most know at that point. But like you'd hear, I could have stopped singing and everyone in the room would have kept singing. It was such a cool feeling to be in that room.
Right. Yeah.
It was so fun. And that was honestly that state convention is probably one of the best experiences I've had. It was so fun.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that the first time you performed before an audience, or at least an audience that big?
So I've done choir all throughout seventh through 12th grade.
Yeah.
I've done either it was junior high choir or select choir or high school choir. Like I sing a lot. I'm a very musical guy. So to be able to share my gift of music in front of that large group of people, it
Right.
was such a cool feeling. But no, I did all the concerts and stuff for the choir, and I've done solos and like stuff that before, but nothing of that caliber. Because
Yeah.
I did a song last year at convention. I only got to go on once. And actually wrote it myself, and it was like it was okay, but it wasn't like the exact same. It wasn't the same feeling as like everyone knows the song, everyone's gonna jam out, right?
Yeah, but after last year, they would have all known this song. You could have played that same song again from last year, and
I could have. I
nah.
mean, I,
Yeah, no, I get it. Luke Bryan's got a little more name recognition than you
Zach
do,
Bryan,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
Zach
Yeah,
Bryan's
just
a good guy,
yep, I
good guy.
guess. Yep. Well, that's cool. What else goes on at the FFA convention there?
There's lots of competitions. Poly Pro, prepared speaking, extemporaneous speaking. So there was state CEs a couple months back, and that would be like your more of your agricultural type business stuff, like meat judging, dairy
Right.
judging, land judging. Ag business is one I did. I actually placed silver at state for that one. That was in CSU.
Oh, awesome.
Um, yeah,
Great
that was
job.
fun. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, no, it was lots. It's a lot of things, and if I'm saying everyone, I recommend everyone, if you have a chapter at your school, join it. I mean, there's nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Right.
It's such a cool organization. I was proud to be part of it.
I'm thinking back. I belonged to a lot of clubs in high school. I don't think we had that one in New York. I
Yeah,
don't
no, I don't. I think
know.
New York is actually like smaller, like FFA numbers. Actually, so I've seen.
Yeah, no, I would believe that. I mean,
Yeah,
there is agriculture in New York.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
Like
there's
growing apples
agriculture
and
everywhere.
things.
One
Yeah.
of the things of the opening ceremonies in FFA is wherever corn is grown and members meet, and that's like there's corn grown in all 50 states. Like
Yeah,
that's a fact.
that's true.
Um, all 50 states, state of Maine to the Virgin Islands, or state Alaska to Hawaii. Um, Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the cornfields in Alaska
Oh,
yet or in Hawaii, but
I mean, they
they're
grow.
probably there.
It's true.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
no,
it.
super cool. Yeah, a national organization. It's such a cool thing to be part of.
Yeah. You know what agriculture, you know where I grew up was known for?
Hmm.
Potatoes and ducks.
And ducks. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
ducks. That's an
Long
interesting
Island
one.
duck. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much duck knowledge about agriculture. I mean,
Yeah, no.
ask me anything about corn, I'll be able to tell you, but I don't know much about ducks.
All right. Yeah. You know, I was in Peru and they had
Okay,
something like 700 varieties of corn there or something.
really?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And one of the cool things is kind of a standard thing in Peru before every meal is they give you a little glass of this purple juice.
Okay,
And it's really weird because it's actually made out of corn, purple corn.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, purple corn. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But you look at it and you drink it, and your first instinct is, oh, I'm drinking grape juice. And you drink it, and it's like, oh, that doesn't taste right.
That's not grape juice. No.
No, you got to get used to it a little bit. And once you do, it's not bad, but it's kind of a tradition there in Peru that they give you this little glass of purple corn juice.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Gets more corn out in the world, right?
Right, right.
Shoot,
Yeah, more
pretty good
corn.
stuff.
We'd be all better off if we ate more corn, right?
I'd say so. Yeah,
Believe it or not, I will be eating corn tonight for dinner.
good.
I already have that all queued up.
It's a good thing. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So you've done an awful lot there with FFA and with
Hmm.
musically inclined and everything, but let's talk sports.
I love talking sports, yes, sir. Actually, let me turn my lights on real quick so I get the light better.
Oh,
Give me a
sure.
split second.
Yeah. Oh, you look so
Ah.
much better.
All right, let me talk. Let's talk sports.
Yeah, well, so you know, a lot of small schools, you got to play like every sport, and so what were you involved with as a Holyoke Dragon? Because people don't know that you guys are the Dragons, right?
Holyoke Dragons, yes, sir.
You got it, yeah,
Everything, pretty much everything.
right,
And that goes beyond sports too. That goes with theater, choir, whatever. But I was involved in pretty much everything. Actually, so I played football in Florida. So I started off playing football in Florida for my second to my eighth grade year.
okay,
I played football, either that be in Florida and Holyoke. I moved to Holyoke my sixth grade year. Stopped playing my eighth grade year. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of football. No fun. Right. So I stopped my freshman year, and the football coach was begging me to go out. He's like, please, Max, go out. Come on. You'll have so much fun. It'll be good for the team, whatever. And I was like, no, I can't. I won't do it. So I didn't do it that year. There was also, I did golf that year, actually. My
yeah.
freshman year, I did golf. Um, which is weird because I mean I'm a caddy out at Ballyneal, right? But I'm so
Which
bad
is
at golf.
even though you're out there, that is a very nice golf course.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's like top 100 in the world is what I've like, or the
Yeah,
nation anyway.
yeah,
Like it's crazy. Super blessed to be able to work there. But no, so I golfed my freshman year, fall sports. I did wrestling my freshman year in winter time, and that didn't quite work out though. I mean, I was having some heart issues, some anxiety issues, some things like that. So I was like passing out a bunch. It was tough, but
yeah. Wow,
then yeah, that was a weird time.
I bet. But
Uh
you managed to get through that.
yes, sir, I did. Yeah, no, I was weird, and it kind of like I was started working on myself and working on like my anxiety and things like that, and kind of went away. So I mean, that was a purely mental thing, and I'm glad I got through that for sure.
Yeah. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
So what methods did you find were useful? Because I think some other, young, high school age youth
Mhm,
athletes
mhm.
might actually benefit somewhat from maybe some of the things you conquered.
For sure. So yeah, no, mental issues. I've had. I think someone's lying if they said they haven't struggled with mental health at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Is I think everyone has at least one point in their life they're like, this is not good. Something's wrong. Um, and you know what? I've been through that a lot actually. Many hardships, many trials, and the one thing that I can like, if I had to give like one piece of advice, it would be the fact that there's something bigger than you, um, and it'll all work out because something bigger than you has a plan. For me, that's the Lord. Lord, um,
Right.
yeah, He's bigger than me. He has a plan, And if I like stick to his plan and start working on like who I am and who I want to be better, that's all it is. Because that was a big thing for me because back then I couldn't quite find the Lord and I was kind of a little lost and I found him and everything started going right. So
Yeah. What
that was
what
that was
what did you learn about yourself through all that?
I learned that um I can do a lot of things. Despite hardship, despite struggle, I can be successful.
Right.
And I shoot, I mean that's pretty much all it is, right? You can struggle, but at the end of the day, you have to keep going to be successful. You can't
Absolutely.
stop. You can sit in your struggle for a little bit, but you have to struggle to get better.
Absolutely. No, it doesn't hurt, or it doesn't help, I should say, to wallow in it and
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
ignore it. I find it's very important to feel what's going
Yes.
on.
Yep.
I think a lot of people try to numb their feelings.
Yep.
And, unless you actually, look into it and experience all that is going on around whatever you're feeling, issues, what have you, that you are not going to be able to work it out nearly as successfully.
It's true. You have to work on yourself to be better, right? And like
Right.
to be able to work on yourself, you have to realize that something's wrong,
Yeah.
and like you have to notice what that is in order to do that. Honestly, I started going to therapy then too. I started work on that, and I feel like that's been a huge thing for me too, right? And
Yeah.
that the getting like helping learning coping mechanisms and things like that through that, and it's great experience. I would say if you're struggling, talk to someone and work on yourself too.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
great advice. It's really funny you mentioned that, Max. I have
Mm-hmm.
had at least four conversations,
Mm-hmm.
even as recently as today, with
Mm-hmm.
people in their teens
Yeah,
who have sought therapy,
mm,
and it helped them tremendously. I mean,
absolutely.
a couple of them were dealing with some grief,
Yeah,
a couple of them were just dealing with some other issues.
yeah, no,
And
for
one of the
sure.
nice things, a couple of these guys are in college, and so as a they got counseling available to them right there for free,
Absolutely. Yeah, for
which is
sure.
great.
That's a blessing. Absolutely. If your college has that, take advantage. That's a huge blessing.
Yep, absolutely. But it is interesting. I mean, like I say, I've literally had four conversations like this just within the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
And yeah, it's out there a lot. And I think there's obviously stigmatism about it
Mm,
sometimes, sometimes as a male, and I'm sure it's probably even more so out on the plains there where, men are
yeah.
men and we're
Yeah.
riding
No,
bulls.
be a manly man. Get over it. You're fine. That's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I mean, that's how it generally goes, right? But if you realize that what you're doing is like for you and so you can become better, none of that matters.
Right.
I mean, if you are constantly worrying about what other people think of you, then you're not going to get anywhere
Yes.
because you got to do the things you want to do for you, not for other people.
Yeah, and that was actually the core of the conversation I had with one of the young men I was talking to about. He was constantly comparing himself to others, and
Mm-hmm.
as a result, he really enjoyed playing sports and going to the gym and such. And he stopped going to the gym because he was afraid he was being compared to everybody else. And I told him, I said, nobody gives a damn. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
staring at you in the
No one
gym.
cares.
Everybody's got their own thing they're working on, but
No one
he
cares.
was so self conscious about it, he just stopped going. And
Yeah.
found himself in a really dark place at one point. So
Yeah.
it
No,
was really good that he managed to. Actually, part of it too is he was kind of numbing himself by alcohol and
mm,
weed, and
mm,
just that way he wouldn't feel these feelings. It wasn't
yeah.
until he decided to, get some counseling and actually feel what was going on and start realizing, okay, who cares what people think?
Yeah.
Do your
I mean,
thing.
numbing is not going to solve anything, right? You have to feel the feelings to get through
Right.
them. Numbing just prolongs it, if that makes sense. Um,
No, it does. Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. And actually, I go to the gym a lot too. I started doing that. Was it end of my junior year? I think is what it was. End of my junior year, I started going to the gym a lot, just because I was self conscious about it. Right, I was self conscious about like what it looked like, because I
Right.
was I was I was really skinny back then. Like my freshman sophomore year, I was really skinny.
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing, but I was just made fun of for it a lot, and I got tired of it. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go get big. and I mean, that's what I did last summer. I was in the gym almost every day that summer, like
Yeah.
lifting the weights, like getting big. Yeah, no, it was the gym also. I think the gym, therapy, and just sitting there by yourself and having these thoughts helps.
Right.
Helps. I mean, those are the three things I use.
Yeah.
I,
Excellent.
yeah.
I mean, when you say, your thinking part there, I mean, are you like
Mhm.
meditating, or is it form of it, or,
I
what are you
would I
doing
mean
there?
I wouldn't necessarily call it meditating is a weird word for me because like when I think of meditating I think of like sitting there, but
Right. Yep.
I mean I think it is a form of meditating though just because like you're sitting there in your thoughts and you're not really like you're not really like thinking, you're just kind of letting them pass through.
Yeah.
You're just thinking about what they're about, not thinking about the thought themselves, just like thinking about what they're about and having like go through your mind. Just let the thoughts float. Like whether it be nervousness, anxiety, depression, whatever. Just let the thoughts float, and you'll odds are you'll feel better after you like come back a little bit from that
Yeah. And
for
you,
sure.
you said, you working on yourself. I think also if you can start projecting that outward, thinking
Mhm.
about, okay, this isn't so much about me, but it's also about like how you can go ahead and positively influence other people.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it seems like,
That's why I want to become a teacher so I can
yeah,
have like see the impact in the students' lives I could make.
right,
Like see that every day, right? Because my end goal plan, what is it, 20 years down the line or whatever, once I get my master's degree, is I want to be able to be a school counselor actually.
right,
And be that person for the kids because I have my school counselor in Holyoke. I mean, Mrs. Clayton, she's amazing. And I talk to her a lot and like she helped me out through so much. And I want to be like her. I want to be able to like help people out and like positively impact people.
right.
That's my end goal.
Yeah,
If I do one thing in this world, I want to make a positive impact.
very cool. Well, this podcast and myself, we're all about positivity, so
Love
I
it.
definitely like that.
I love it.
Um, and you've already had an impact, obviously, as a delegate with FFA and
Mhm.
playing music for people. So obviously, you're well on your way.
That's the goal, yes, sir. So anyway, back to sports now.
Yes, let's do it.
So my freshman year, it was the week before track started. The week before, we already started practices and stuff because it was preseason practices, and
Right.
then I actually saw it on Instagram on the Chassa Instagram page. Um, it was the fact that all spring sports got just
Hmm.
canceled. Not post. Actually, no. At first, it was postponed for 2 weeks.
Right.
And because I remember posting on my Instagram, I was like, "They can't stop us forever. I'll see you back here the 29th." And 2 weeks turned into four, turned into never,
Yep.
and I didn't have a track season that year. I mean, no one did that year, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was tough. That was hard. I
Oh,
remember I remember
without a
coming
doubt.
home, sitting on the couch, and just crying. I mean, that was hard. Like,
Right.
because that was like the one thing that I was looking forward to that year. I was like, come on, the track season, let's go. Because I actually used to be a distance guy.
Really.
I used to be I
Back when you
was
were
like a
back when you
miler.
were a skinny guy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was like a freshman. I was like a miler like 800 or so.
Okay.
Um, and no, I was so bad at mile though. I was running like I guess my PR for the mile was like in eighth grade. I think I ran a 6:01, which is like for an
That's
eighth
not
grader,
bad
it's
for an
it's
eighth
for
grader.
an
Yeah.
eighth grader, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, probably would have run faster my freshman year, but I didn't get it right at then.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean, I liked track back then just because it was like I could think when I was running. You think and
Yeah.
everything's like you get that runner's high and you're like, oh, everything's good now. Like
True.
it was. I mean, that's one of the great parts about running, right? Gets the endorphins up, things like that.
Absolutely. No,
You know,
as I always tell people, I could feel just like garbage, not want to go out the door to do a run.
Mhm.
And by the time I finish the run, I've never, ever, ever once in my entire life come back from a run and say, damn, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah, never,
Right.
never.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Um,
So, okay. So moving forward then from the canceled track season,
yeah. So that was 9 months there.
right?
During those 9 months, I mean, I was going through it. I mean, I was feeling dark places, feeling sad.
Mm,
Um, you know what? I reached out to people, started conversations again. I mean, I think everyone was feeling a little weird back then too. I mean,
Yeah.
like the disconnect. I'm a very peoply person. I love talking a lot. So being stuck at my house for 9 months. I mean, not even 9 months. I guess it was 4 or 5, maybe. Whatever school started back up again.
Yeah.
We were there. We were actually there. My sophomore year, we started back in school, which I cannot see that for people because that was the tail end of 2020. We were
Yeah.
back in school, um, and and our Holyoke was actually in session, like in person,
Mm,
which is like it wasn't heard of for Rosa State, but we were like, we will do it.
right.
We'll wear the mask. We'll do the distancing, whatever. And that was a cool experience. I mean, it wasn't cool, but it was like a surreal type experience, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like the fact that like everyone like wanted to get back to some sense of normal.
Right.
And that was it for me. So my sophomore year, I didn't do a fall sport. I was like, no, I'm not doing football. Golf was weird. I didn't do golf then either. I did basketball my sophomore winter season.
Okay.
I was the JV All Star. Um, because I cannot shoot the ball at all. Like I'm 6'2", 175. I can jump 35 inches standing vertical, but I'm not that good at basketball. Um, but yeah, I did basketball that year, and then sophomore year is when I could really start getting to the track, and this is the fun part. I get to talk about the fun stuff now.
All right.
So my sophomore year, I was planning on like, you know what, I'll do distance, whatever. And my coach, Corey Koberstein, he's since moved to Sedgeco coaching. But he was my coach my sophomore year in Holyoke, and he was like, "You're gonna come with me today," because he was like also like the sprints coach, not only head coach, we also did sprints.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're gonna come with me today." So we were doing timed 40s, and like I had the best one on the team. He's like, "You're gonna be a sprinter now," and I was like, "Okay, listen to
Right.
coach, yes sir." Um, and I mean, I that's probably one of the biggest blessings I've ever had in my life is him telling me like, "You are good at this, do it."
Right.
Because that season I was very successful. I was constantly getting like second or third at all those meets um as a sophomore in high school. And the only person I was really chasing was Clay Robinson from Yuma.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
who's a he's a quick dude. He was a
Yeah.
quick dude.
Right.
He was a junior and I was a sophomore. He actually, so fast forward to state track that year. It was in the middle of summer, dog hot because everything got pushed back because of
Yeah.
COVID
The
still.
season that year was May and June instead of the normal
Yeah,
season, which
yeah,
it was hot. I mean, I didn't miss
super.
not having March and April track actually with the weather we get, but
Yeah,
it was hot. Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm what I did miss was like I missed having like I don't know, it was for all my meets though. I just remember it being hot and still, like there's no wind, which is
Yeah.
good for track, but not good for like living because it's hot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the sprinters liked it for sure. Actually, we had a
Yeah,
lot of distance records set that year, but
yeah,
that's a whole nother story. But yeah, but
yeah.
you had a very successful campaign your sophomore
Oh,
year.
absolutely no. So state track, I got third in the 100.
Right.
I made it to finals and squeezed third out of that. It was if you see the video of that race, it was tight. Like everyone was neck and neck the entire way through.
Mm,
It was a fun race to be part of.
yeah.
I think I got eighth in the 200. One, two. I
Did
think
it.
it was,
Yep.
and I think our 4x1 too. I was part of the 4x1, and that was cool because it was raining, and I love the rain. It was raining during the 4x1, and like on the last exchange, we were moving, we were chilling in first place. Then the last exchange, I mean, the baton just slipped a little bit and it
Uh,
dropped, and that was heartbreaking because I was running the back leg at that point. I wasn't anchor.
yeah.
Um, but that was heartbreaking because we were doing so well. I remember just like falling on my knees. I'm like, no, come on, please, no, because yeah,
Uh,
that was something for sure.
yeah. And in the 4x1, there's no recovery. I mean, it's
No,
not like the four
it's
by
if
eight
it's
where you can
over,
pick
it's
up the
over.
baton. Yeah. If you drop in the 4x1, you're done.
Yeah, no, if you drop or you like you go out of the exchange and like try to come back in and go, it doesn't work. It
No,
doesn't
that
work
doesn't
at
work
all.
either. No.
No. But yeah, no. So that was so fun. That really like reinforced my love for track at that point, right?
Yeah.
Um, I loved being competitive. I loved the side of it. I loved like pushing myself against these other great people. And then so now we're getting to the fun part. My junior year, um, the football coach came back to me. He's like, "Okay, Max, you need a football. You're quick. You're on the team. You'll be a starter. Come on, we need you on the team." And I was like, okay, I'll do football. So I'll still love football. Don't get me wrong. I love the sport so much.
Yeah.
Such a good sport to play. I think it teaches kids discipline and all, like working through hardship and all. It's such a good sport. I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I started doing it, and we did all the preseason stuff. I played football my junior year for 5 weeks.
Yeah. By the way, out there, we have a lot of schools in Colorado that play 6-man football, 8-man
Yeah,
football. Did you guys play those, or were you 11
we're
man?
1A
Yeah.
football.
But you are playing 11 man though.
Barely, but yes, I think we
Yeah.
made the
Okay.
cutoff that year by one person.
Oh, okay. All
Like
right.
we're barely playing 11-man football, but yeah, still playing 11-man football.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So
Okay. So go ahead.
so yeah, no, I played 5 weeks my junior year, 5 weeks. Now you might be like, what happened? Why only 5 weeks? Well, we did the 2 weeks the summer, or 2 weeks like the coming into the fall, and then I had 3 weeks of football. I had 3 games, um, and the third game of the season was in Florence. I remember driving to Florence, like I remember warming up and feeling really good. I was like, "Oh, well, let's go! We're gonna get them!" Right? And we were doing so well, and like it was neck and neck. Because Florence was like number 2 in the state, and we were like fighting back. We're having a good time. And then I think it was like the third or fourth. I think it was the third. We were kicking off, and we were kicking off, and I was the first one down the field per usual. I mean, I was down there quick. I mean, third to the state for sophomore year, I had to be quick at that point. For down the field quick, in the pads, saw the guy locked on, and then he cut one direction, and I tried to follow him. And I was like, "Oh, we're getting it, we're going." And then I felt my knee pop, and I like immediately just collapsed. Immediately collapsed in pain. There's
Yeah.
a video on my Instagram, and there's no audio or anything because it's just film. But there's a video on my Instagram, and you can see the cut. Like I was there, like ready to go. I cut, and it just I collapsed. I
Oh,
collapsed, and
wow.
it was the most excruciating pain I felt in my life. Um, but I don't remember like the sensation. I just remember it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
um, and it was yeah, no, that was
And it was
uh,
non-contact, as like most ACL
mhm.
injuries.
No, and some guy actually hit me on the way down. Like he was like ensuring I was going down. I'm like, dude, there was no need for that. I was going down anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
but so yeah, no. So I remember laying on the ground. They actually got that return all the way back to the end zone because I couldn't get him because of my knee or torn my ACL.
Oh,
And that turned around the whole momentum of the game. They won by 14 at the end or something like that. Like I don't remember that score of the game because I was more worried about my knee at that point.
yeah. Any insult to injury here, literally. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was yeah. That turned on the whole momentum of the game. Because even back then I was like the hype man of the team. I was like, we're gonna go, let's go. Like I was the hype man of the team as a junior of the team. Like I was
Right.
like keeping spirits up. And when the spirit guy is sitting on the sideline with a bum knee, like it's not good.
No.
So I remember laying on the field until they got to the end zone, and remember looking up, I was like, oh. I tried, and I knew I couldn't get up though. Like I didn't even try. I was just laying there, like holding my knee. And then Mrs. Powell, our principal there, 'cause she was like the admin on site, right?
Yeah.
She like came out, like she like saw me laying down even after play was over, because like she knew, like everyone knew that like if I get hit, I just get back up.
Right.
Like, but everyone saw me laying down, like screaming for pain, screaming because of pain, and like they knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was wrong, but they knew something was wrong. And like I think it was, I don't remember. I think it was Miss Powell and a couple of my teammates and Dusty, the coach.
Yeah.
Um, and they were all rushed over, and they're all like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I didn't even remember what I said. Like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't remember what I said." I do remember going to Miss Powell, but like, because I have so much respect for like Miss Powell and all like my coaches or whatever.
Right.
So I was like I was laying on the ground swearing. I'm like, oh, like I was swearing like up and down because of the amount of pain I was in.
Right.
And I was like, Miss Powell, I'm sorry, I have to swear. I know she was like, I'm pretty sure I cursed her out quite a bit. Like it was not like directed at her, but
Right.
she was like, we're gonna straighten. Like, it was yeah. And then so I remember hobbling off the field, sitting on the bench, and elevating, icing, whatever. I was like, oh, I just tweaked it, we'll be good. And then so their trainer came over, the Florence team's trainer came over, and they're like, They did a little pushed on it, pulling a little bit, and they're like, we're not gonna do anything right now. But I just signed a form or something saying, oh, we're not taking you to hospital. Because I was like I'm not gonna go to the hospital. I'm fine. Um, I'm good. What are you talking
Oh
about?
yeah, sure.
So they said we do recommend you go see someone. So um, Miss Powell texted Kendra, our trainer, Holyoke's trainer, who knew Justin Newman, Dr. Justin Newman, who actually graduated with my dad in high school. Like they're in the same
Okay.
class. That's a cool connection there. But so he was like, so Kendra texted Justin, Dr. Newman, I mean, and just texted him. He's like, hey, Max, I think Max messed up his knee a little bit. Dr. Newman had me in that office the following Monday at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. there.
Right.
That day. Like I tore my knee on Saturday. I was in looking get it looked at on Monday.
Okay.
So we looked at it. He was like, he did one. When you test for an ACL tear, you like have the knee bent a little bit. So like trying to my finger, but like you pull on it like right there,
Yeah.
and like if it moves, then it's not good. Um, and so it moved. Obviously, at this
Yeah.
point, it was swollen to this like the size of a balloon. Um, it was bad. It was not good. I couldn't walk. I didn't walk out of the locker room. I didn't walk to the locker room.
Yeah.
I was jumping like hopping on one foot all the way to the locker room because like I was like I'm good. I should a little bit of time because I didn't want anyone else to, like be there to support me. I'm like I'm good. We're good because I was like in denial at that point. I'm like there's no
Right.
way I just tore my ACL. Um, so I was doing that. I got back to, like so we with the doctors. Doctors like we need you for an MRI. It's looking yeah. So he's like so I'm like okay we'll go to MRI. He got me an MRI that day at 3 o'clock. Um, got me squeezed in.
Right.
And we were, I remember we got the MRI done, sitting, it was like maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. There was an IHOP down the street. So we were sitting at IHOP eating pancakes. I was having a good time. I was on crutches at that point because I was like, I can't walk. And Dr. Newman was like, you need to be on crutches. So we sit at the IHOP and Dr. Newman calls my dad. And actually, I think, yeah, calls my dad on his cell phone. And like, cause they've been friends since like they were first grade or whatever.
Yeah.
Calls him and he's like, hey Matt, how's it going? And then we're all like nervous, like how's it going? What's going on? And I don't remember what Justin Newman said, but he said some along the lines of Max dusted his ACL. Dusted is the word he used.
Huh.
Not
Okay.
tore,
Right.
not broken. He dusted it. It was bad. There was like no ACL left. It was
Wow.
yeah, no, it was gone. And it was not only my ACL, but it was also my meniscus. Partial tear of the meniscus. I had to be reattached in a total reconstruction ACL.
Right.
Um, and
How-
that was a tough phone call to hear
Yeah. How soon did you have the surgery?
the day after,
Okay.
the following Tuesday.
Gotcha.
Tore my ACL on Saturday, got it fixed up on Tuesday.
All right.
That
All
was
right. So let's talk about your rehab then.
for sure, for
Yeah. I
sure.
mean, like, I mean, I mean, psychologically, of course, that was kind
Mm,
of a crusher. But I mean,
yeah.
I've had many surgeries on my knees, as
Mm, mm,
every
mm.
listener here has heard.
Yeah.
I've had my share. I'm in the nut job. Was in the gym 3 days after surgery, getting after it.
Wow.
I don't know what your attitude was, whether you were feeling sorry for yourself or you're
Oh,
like, okay,
I was wanting to get back. I
yeah,
actually I have the dates pulled up here because I have my Google Photos. So I tore it on the 18th. Had surgery on the 20th.
okay,
I visited 20 surgery on 21st. That's what surgery on the 21st. And then there's a picture of me here at the physical therapy office on the 22nd. Um,
right,
doing my stuff already. I was wanting to get back into it. Um, because I was like, if I want to get back for my junior track season, I need to like start now. I
yeah,
need to put this work in now. And you know, it was yeah, no, it was like 4 days after I was already physical therapy. It was very light stuff. I don't think I couldn't bend it for like 6 weeks.
hmm,
But I was still like doing all like the blood flow stuff or whatever they had me doing as
yeah,
best as I could because I wanted to get better. Um, and I was doing that. So I was on crutches for 6 weeks, non-weight bearing,
right,
and I had no sports for 9 months. 9 months. And if you know anything about high school sports, track season and football season are about 8 months apart. the tail end of track, like it was the very beginning of football season and the very tail end of track season. It's about 9 months exactly, actually.
Okay, yeah, from the beginning of one to the end of the other.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
about 9 months exactly. So I was looking at
So
the
this was
calendar.
this was September when you injured yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yep,
Okay. Yep.
yeah. So about 9 months exactly. So I was looking at the calendar. I was like, okay, I have if everything goes exactly to plan, I'll have 2 qualifying meets and then state track.
Right.
And that's what I did, right? I mean, I worked my butt off those 9 months. I mean, I was working hard. I was doing everything I could to get back to where I was before, if not better.
Yeah.
And that season, I didn't quite make it to state. I mean, I made it for a 4x1. I was on the 4x1 team. Um, but I didn't quite make it to state. I missed it by like 100th of a second. And
In the 100?
yeah, in the 100, I
Oh,
missed it by
wow.
100th of a second.
Okay.
I was sitting 19th after having 2 qualifying meets. I mean,
Oh, man, that's heartbreaking.
yeah, that was tough. That was tough to go through, but I was still going to state. I mean, I was having like I still made it, right? I mean, I was like, I still like made the recovery. And I remember sitting like after the return to play test 9 months later, um, he came up to me and he showed me the sheet and I passed by 1 point.
Yeah.
I passed by 1 point. And there was other points, like there was like 20 more points available, but it was like a rhythm based thing. I was like, not I couldn't quite get it right. But I passed by 1 point and he's like, go. And I was like, okay. So I went as hard as I could. I started training like hard as I could that day. It started swelling up a little bit. So I took a couple of days off from that point. But
Right.
I mean, shoot, I was going, that recovery was like it was the longest 9 months of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, how hard was the training you were doing?
It was long. It was tough for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so I couldn't do basketball obviously because
Sure.
I was out, but I was still a part of the team at that point. So I was like the hype man. I was doing all the crowd cheers and getting everything going. And that's where I found part of my peace during that point in time was helping support other people.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot. Um, yeah. So that was a hard 9 months. I mean, I was doing a bunch of single leg isometric type exercises, and at that point, that's just all like that's all mental. I mean,
Most
isometric, it's
boring crap in the world. Yeah.
yeah, it's just you got to do it to get better. I mean, that's all
Yep.
that is. I mean, you got to do it to get better, and that's what I was telling myself. Like, if you want to get better, you have to do this. Like, you have to do this. You have to work hard to get better, and that's part of what it was, right? I mean, that's all of what it was.
Right.
Um, yeah. So that
Did
was
what kind of low moments did you have?
low moments. I remember it was one night after like a basketball game or something. I didn't play, but I was just sitting there. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. And I was sitting there and I was like, I text a couple of my friends and they didn't really text me back. Like, and they were it was also like 11:30 at night, right? And they didn't text me back. Then I was like, what if I can't do this? And I sat down and I prayed about it and I write a lot of poems and stuff too.
Yeah.
So I wrote some poems and I just thought about it for a while. I'm like, but if I'm not gonna do it, who will? No one else is gonna do what I'm doing right now except for me. So I have to be able to do it. There's no I can't do it. There is I'm going to do it.
Sure.
And I mean that was my entire mindset, right? It was like it's gonna suck and I'm gonna hate every minute of it, but I have to do it.
Right.
And that's what it was. I mean, that was the longest 9 months of my life.
Yeah.
Sitting out for sports because sports was such a big part of my life since like second grade was what I said. Like I was constantly in a sport being active and sitting out for those 9 months. I mean, that was tough. That was really tough.
Believe me, I
Um,
know. It's, that's kind of unfortunately been some of my lot in life. I mean,
yeah.
I ruptured my quad tendon.
Oh wow.
Well, actually I've ruptured my left quad tendon twice, my right
Mm.
quad tendon once, but I remember rupturing my quad tendon the end of October. This was 2014, and
Mm.
the docs told me you're not going to do anything till May. And I was like, I'm not putting up with that. That's not
Yeah.
going to work. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I was after it. I was actually running again in January.
Really?
And in fact, I even skied on it that spring. And that summer, I ran the Leadville Trail 100. So,
Wow.
because I just, yeah, the prospect, yeah, as I said, I was not going to be able to do anything for, was that like 7 months? I mean, that was
Yeah.
even just to start doing any.
Yeah. No, because
I was like, there's no
everything's
way.
variable there, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
but
shoot.
they like I wasn't gonna be able to start doing any kind of therapy or anything for 7 months. I mean, I was gonna do therapy, but like even
Yeah.
resuming anything for 7 months, and I'm like, no, not acceptable.
No, it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, no, that's hard. And like not being able to do those sports, like things that bring you joy, that's hard. And you know what, getting through that, that's even harder. Getting
right,
through not being able to do that's even harder. But you know, if you just keep in mind that you can do it, regardless of how you feel right now, that if you keep going, you will make it. It
right.
all works out in the end. I mean,
Yes,
have some faith in the Lord, have some faith in yourself, and then everything turns out.
absolutely. Was your goal all along to get back for track season in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
That was my goal for my junior season. I was like, I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna start running for track. My goal is to make it to state. I'm not looking to win, not looking to make it to finals. I just want to make it to state.
Right.
And I could technically accomplish that. Technically, I did. I made the 4x1.
Yeah,
I was part of the qualifying 4x1. So he let me run that then.
that's
Um,
cool.
it
Yeah, I
was it,
noticed, I actually looked up your 200 time that season was 24.29, which,
mm,
was I mean, it's a full second pretty much off of what you were running as a sophomore. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's still pretty impressive. I mean, it's not, I know in retrospect, well, that's
24.
not a very good time, but still, it's like, it's within a second of what you were running the year before blowing out your
Yeah,
ACL. So, not
that's
too
true.
shabby.
I mean, a second's a lot in sprinting, though, right? I
It
mean,
is,
a
yes.
second is like, and that could have been 10 meters down the road already, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I get it, but
it's.
still. And
Thank you
I
for
mean,
that. I appreciate that. Thank
yeah, I
you.
mean, it's a heck of an accomplishment, and like you say, qualifying with that 4x1 team. So,
Mhm.
after that, then you had all summer to kind of continue working and
Yeah, no,
do
I
a
did
little bit
club
more.
track that summer.
Okay,
I
great.
did club track because I was like, I'm good now. I'm gonna do my club track. So I joined a team out of I think it was Gill, Colorado, called Rivals. And so Jim Powell from Yuma, he's like the regional person for that team, I guess. So
Okay,
he's some kids out of Yuma, and he asked me to be part of the team because he knows me, and he actually did my senior pictures. Actually, Jim Powell,
okay,
he's yeah, good guy. But so he recruited me. He like asked me to be part of the team. He like gave me the paperwork and stuff. I'm like, I'll do it. Okay, sure, absolutely. Because I wanted to be like keep doing track and like because at that point I was realizing like maybe I could go somewhere with this. Like we'll see how it turns out. Just like in a thought in the back of my mind.
right.
And then I was doing the summer track stuff and I was doing pretty well. I was running solid times. I think I ran it was a hand time PR because it was summer track. I ran like 11.1 seconds like 4 weeks later after state track, which is that's respectable for a sprinter for sure, for a small town
Yeah,
sprinter.
sure.
I was 11.1. Um and it was hand times, so it was probably close to like 11.4, which still like I was super happy with that back then
Right.
because it was like that'd be meeting or beating my PR by a little bit, my fat time PR.
Yeah,
Um, but so that was a cool experience to do that. I ran 100, 200, and that was it of those meets.
yeah.
Because I didn't actually run the 400 like this year until this year, at
I
all.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, didn't run the 400 at all. So going fast forward, I did golf again my senior year. I tried basketball out. The knee got angry after a couple weeks. Talked to Dr. Newman again. Dr. Newman was like, probably take it easy.
Hmm.
So I went back to managing for the team and like being the hype man, whatever. I'm good at that, right? It was fun. It was fun.
Right.
So and I was doing that. The track season started. And I was like, okay, this year we're gonna go for greatness. And that was like my word of the year was greatness
Yeah,
and like work
it's a
towards
good word.
greatness. I
Yeah, it's an
love that word.
awesome
I
word. Yeah,
love that word. And I was working towards greatness. And
right.
if you look at my Instagram, like even like weeks ago, greatness was like the caption. Like the road to greatness never ends. Like it's gonna be great, right? Um,
Sure.
that was my thing, right? And at that point, I was talking to a couple colleges over summer. I visited a couple
Yeah.
smaller colleges in Nebraska and Kansas and stuff, and And I was like thinking like maybe this could actually work if I could go somewhere this in college. And I was like talking to a bunch of colleges, getting some conversation going, got a couple offers and stuff, and that was a fun time. Senior year track season started, and I was like a leader on the team, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do great things. Yeah, let's go team. And we had our first meet, and I won the 100, and I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I think I ran like it was like in retrospect, I ran like 11.6, which is not a good time for like winning anything, but I still won. It was like that was a good feeling. Like
Yeah.
coming
It's
back
also
after and
early
actually
season.
winning something.
Yeah, of course.
Um, yeah, no, that was in Fort Morgan, I think. And so then I keep going and I keep going throughout the weeks. Every week we had a track meet, and I was like, I kept seeing my times drop a little bit. Throughout the third weekend, my track coach was like, "Do you want to try 400?" And so I keep in mind, I've run the 4x4. I ran the 4x4 like forever. I did mention it, but I did run the 4x4 my sophomore year. I
Okay.
ran the 4x4. Did not run to my junior year, but I ran it my sophomore year. I love the 4x4. It's everyone hates it, but I love it so much. Like it's so much hype, and
Best event.
I
Yeah, it's
love
the
it.
last
It's
event of the meet.
so good.
Everybody's, especially, you small schools have an advantage that, like, like, uh we're in the city, and by the time the 4x4 comes around, half the kids have left. They've done their
Mhm.
events and left. You guys all travel on a bus to somewhere, so
Yeah,
you're captive. And
yeah,
so I love to see the small town meets where everybody's gathered at the fence and
yes.
everybody's cheering on that 4x4 that culminates the meet.
It's the coolest feeling ever when you're
Yeah,
entering the 4x4 and you're neck and neck with someone else, and
right.
everyone's cheering you on. That's the best feeling.
And
So anyway,
sometimes it's deciding who wins the meet too, which
exactly, and
adds to it. Yeah,
that's even more fun.
right.
So anyway, my coach like, why don't you try 400? And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. No big deal. I mean, it's just a 400. I'd run a 4x4. It's no different.
Right.
Turns out it is different. It feels way different than running a 4x4 because
Oh, yes.
you don't have the support behind you. You have like the cheering constantly, and I mean that
Well,
third
plus,
corner back
if
there.
in the 4x4, if I mean, the first guy runs in his lane, the second guy runs his lane only for the first curve, so everybody
Yeah.
else is kind of running on the inside of the track. And the open 400, you're running in your lane the whole way, and
Hmm.
depending on what lane you have, you may either be the chaser or the chasee, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right. And I think that first one I ran, I was in lane 3. It's
yeah,
not a bad place to be. I think she put my seed time as like a 52, and I was like, that's fine. I don't know what I run right now because I haven't run a 4x4 or a 400 in like forever,
yeah.
but we'll be good. We'll just do it. So I sprinted it, and I got first that time against some guy from I think it was I don't remember who it was from. It was at the Yuma track meet this year, and
Okay.
he actually never lost. And that was a weird feeling to like have myself be successful in a race I don't really run and beat some guy who's never lost. That was
Wow.
that was a weird feeling. And I was like, maybe this is my thing now. Cause I was still winning the 1 and 2 quite often. Um
Did you tell him, like, oh, by the way, I just want to let you know that I've never run this before.
I said that before the race and he was like, there's no way you would. He's like, there's no way. I was like, yeah, I mean, I've never run this before. I've seen those memes on Instagram where it's like the guy who tells you never run the race and does you with like a 10.6. Like that's what I felt like.
Right.
But it was genuine. I'd never run that before. Um,
Yeah, I
but
don't
I
know if you
was
saw, you know the name Davon Underwood, the kid from Meade.
yeah.
Yeah,
Is
so
he the 4A, right?
yeah, he won the one, two, or what was it? I mean, I think he was second in the two, maybe, but won the four and the eight.
Yeah, he
I
won the
mean,
1, 4, and 8.
yeah, I mean, a crazy spread, but apparently that was only the second time he'd ever run the 800.
Really?
He ran it once to qualify, and then he goes and drops a, 151 there, and it's like, yeah, it's like, are you
That's
kidding me?
ridiculous.
Yes.
That's crazy. So anyway, so I started running the 400 and I was like my first goal to meet it was I was like, you know what? We're gonna do it. I'm gonna break the school record. And I was like, that's my goal right now is to break the school record. It was a 49.98 was the school record. I
Okay.
was like, okay, I can do that. I'll work towards it. So I ran it. It was in Chapel, Nebraska. It was a hand timed meet. It was terrible. I'm not a fan of hand time meets. Just like this just fun fact about me.
Well,
I like the exactness of it.
yeah, I was going to say, I haven't seen one of those in years, to be honest.
Turns out Nebraska does it quite often. Fun
Of
fact.
course. Yeah. Right.
Um, um, but it was a hand time meet, and I was like, well, screw it. The record up there was hand timed. If I run a record, it'll be hand timed. It'll be even. It's fine. So I was running. I ran it felt like I was at least 50 meters ahead of everyone by coming off the last curve. I
Wow.
was hauling, and I ran a 49.43, I think is what it was. 49.43. So I beat the school record, and I remember just like collapsing. I remember like coming off the track like, yeah, was like going crazy. I remember like my vision going all crazy because I was dehydrated. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Um, but no, I came back and I broke that school record, and I was a start. I was like, maybe something good would happen. So I started looking at what was it? My max preps. It was max preps. Started
Yeah.
looking at max preps, and I was like, I'm sitting pretty okay right now. I'm sitting like third in the state for 2A, third in the state for the 400.
Yeah.
If I keep cutting time off, because I was cutting I ran like a 52 and a 51, then a 50, then a 49. I was cutting a second off continuously for like 4 weeks in a row. And I was like, if I keep doing that, I have a chance to win this thing.
Yeah.
I was like, and then from that point on, it was like my goal was to win. Like my goal was to win or at least come really close, right?
Right.
That was my goal. And I got there. I was running the 1, the 2, the 400, and the 4x4 state track
You're a
this
busy
year.
guy.
2020. Yeah, no, that last day, the Saturday state track, it was that was hard. that
Yeah.
was
No,
that was tough.
yeah. And it was cool because that's where I met your dad. And
Mhm.
I was just randomly, I was out there watching and I happened to be standing at the fence and talking to your dad. And
Yeah,
he's like, oh, yeah, there's my son coming up here. And then it's like, oh, I see him again. Oh, I see him again. And
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Saw me quite often on that track. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Jefferson County Stadium. Yes, sir. But so I made it for the 1, 2, 4, and 4x4. And my goal when I got there, I was like, okay, I set more realistic goals, thinking about it, have some self doubts. I was like, okay, I'll make finals in all of those events.
Yeah.
Make
And just so
finals.
people who are listening don't know, I mean, each one of those events that you were in has a prelims and a finals. So
Yes, yeah,
yeah, so you're running each of those events twice. So
yep,
basically 8 races in the course of 3 days.
yeah, yeah. And those races, I mean, those have to be at 100%, if not more.
Right.
I mean, because it's the most competitive race you'll run in the state the entire year.
Yep.
Um, now it is the peak of competitiveness in Colorado in my mind. Like you run state track. I mean,
Of
that's
course.
where like
Yeah.
it's where great things happen. I mean, you get the best of state together, it's bound to be competitive.
Right.
So it is 4 races over 3 days, and those races are all you have. Nothing left in the tank at the end.
Yep.
So I think I ran 11:22 for my 100. I was like starting off like, okay, pretty solid. I was
Yep.
sitting like around like I think I was like seated 6 or something for the finals. Like, okay, we're sitting pretty good, yes sir. I got lane 6 in the 100 and the finals, and that's my favorite lane. I love lane 6. If I had to
Yeah.
choose a lane, I'd be lane 6. Um, I was like, okay, we're sitting good. And then I got my 200, and 200 was quick. Everyone was running fast. I think when I ran a 22,
I had you as a 22:53 in the prelims.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And that was a quick race. That was ridiculously fast. I
Right.
mean, everyone was moving. Like literally everyone in the race. Like the 200 was super chilled. Like everyone was like super supportive. Like, you made it. Hey, let's go, man. You got it. I
Yeah.
mean, like that was really fun. Like how supportive everyone was there at that point. Um, but I did make it for finals there. I was one of the lower seeds from that one. I was in lane 2 or something. 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and what I thought was ironic is that like your time was that much faster than your sophomore year where you placed eighth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a
Shows you
quick
how
race.
competitive we got. Yeah.
That was a quick race. That 200 was crazy. And actually my cousin won it. Um, was it? So it's John's wife's sister's kid.
Okay.
So he's my cousin. He won the 200, like John Paul Keeley. Like he was a quick dude. I was super happy for him. That was awesome.
Right.
I saw the name of the war. I was like, let's go, yeah. Because I really wasn't worried about losing at that point. I was worried about like having other people be successful.
Yeah.
Because you can't win everything. That's just a fact, right? You have to have some times where you take you take some L's, but you want other people to get W's. Um, the
Maybe.
goal is always for you to get a dub,
Right.
right? That's
Yeah.
always the goal, right?
Right.
But if you don't, it always be supportive of people who do.
Absolutely. I
And
like
I
it.
and that's how I think about that, and I got that. And that was the 200 was also after my 400. We'll get there in a minute. But that
Yeah.
was also after my 400, so I was dog tired. I was like, oh my, like the last 50 meters, I was like, just finish the race. I don't care how I place,
Right.
just finish the race. um, and that was fun. So anyway, before that, I was running my 400-meter dash at the state level, state competition.
Right.
The prelims were actually I think it was the day before in the rain, and it was
Yes.
raining outside, and that was the cool. I love it was in the rain, it was under the lights, and those two are like prime conditions for me. I love the rain so much, and I love like running under lights. Our 4x4 qualifying, we ran at the Haxton Relays in Holyoke. It was at Holyoke track under the
Yeah.
lights, and we ran like the fastest time. I think it was like a 3:27 or something
Wow.
for a
Nice.
4x4. It was seeded number one in the state by
Yeah.
like 6 seconds, and then Yuma was behind us, and they would have been number one in the state if we didn't run it by like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That race was so fast. Anyway, so it was raining for prelims, and it was under the lights prelims. It was nighttime. It was like the conditions were prime. It was
Yeah.
like A1 conditions, and I was like, we're gonna do good things here. So I ran it. I think I ran it in like 50.3 seconds or something. My prelim. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah. I'm just looking at my
50.3.
note here. Actually, I had you at 49:03 or
That
49:44. Is that your prelim?
4944.
Or maybe that was your PR going into it. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
that was my PR going into it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I ran my prelim in like 50.3 or something. So I was like, you know what? Regardless, I'm not gonna waste all my energy like to because I'm get it to
Makes
finals. Like
sense. Yeah. When you're running that
run
many
at 50
races. Yeah.
50.9, I'll be getting to finals.
Yeah.
So like I'll do well. But and then I start running. I'm like, I want to win the heat. I'm a competitive guy. I want to win. So I beat him at the end there. Um, and I was like, oops. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
my goal is to not waste all my energy. I wasted a lot of energy there, but it was good. So I was seated number one coming into finals. Lane 5. I remember, there again, if you go to my Instagram, picture me kneeling down before the race. Because before every race, I sit down and I pray. I kneel
Yeah.
down and I pray. I pray. Not I so I say, Lord, give me strength, Lord, give me speed. But in reality, I'm not like that's just a thing I say. In my mind, I'm asking for the ability to have opportunities to gain those things.
Right.
I'm not because it doesn't work like a vending machine, right? It's like
No.
you work for it, right? You
No.
you
You don't
gain
say,
opportunities to
Lord,
gain
make
things.
make me win, and
It doesn't
nobody
work
else deserves to win. Right.
exactly. It doesn't work like that.
No.
But so I was sitting down and praying, and I was like, okay, we got good things going on. And so I was going, and I was like, okay, let's do this. And I got in the blocks, and like that moment, like every time I get in the blocks, everything I silence out a little bit, a little quieter. I was
Yeah.
listening for the gun. But that moment, everything aside from the starter went dead silent. It was one of the coolest experiences in my life. Everything went like dead silent. I know like it wasn't silent because I watched the video after.
Oh no, of course not.
But something in my
Had you
mind was
ever
like,
experienced that before?
not to that level.
No. Okay.
Never. It was it was dead silent. And I was like, I remember, everything was like slow motion. Like the start, I remember rising on my blocks going slow motion, and then go. And it was not slow motion anymore. I was going as hard as I could, and I
Right.
was running the back stretch. And I was like, hey, we're going. And I was like, I remember I felt more relaxed. I was like, we're going, we're having a good time. I was like, I try to control my breathing, but I'm not very good at that. So I was like trying to control my breathing, focus on that, being relaxed, being quick. And then that fourth corner comes, the 1, 2, 3, 4, coming off the
Right.
curve towards the final 100. And you know what? I didn't see anyone like really next to me. I was like, oh, cool. And I was like,
Right.
and then so every fourth quarter, I've done it since my sophomore year. I yell. It was like, "Ah," just to get going, right? Because like last push, right? Get the big kick at the end. So I
Yeah.
was yelling, I yelled, and I was pushing as hard as I can, everything I got, and I ended up getting first in the finals for state track and running a new state meet record and breaking the school record again. So
Right.
and that was the cool. I remember like I know I was like I could at the very end it was me and a kid from Peyton.
Yeah.
And it was like
Landon
it was
Hadley. Yeah.
no yeah, Lennon Hadley from Peyton, and it was close. It was 2 tenths or something what I saw.
Yeah. He was 49:22
Yep,
and you were
yep.
49:03. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
it
was
was
less than 2/10 of a second.
it was a
And
tight race, and I was like I felt confident. Just picture me like sitting there like oh, like I like pointing at the board. I was like looking for it like that, and I was like looking for the board, and I was like I went crazy. I was like
so did
I
your
was
dad, by the way. I just want to let you know that.
say again.
So did your dad.
That's good. I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Um, my family's my biggest supporter for sure. But
Yeah.
I was going crazy. I was like when people were setting up their blocks for the next race, I was like running between them. Like I remember like falling to my knees in the grass, and then like after I was on the grass on my knees, like trying to catch my breath a little bit. Then they announced it was a state meet record, and I just remember like this over feeling of what what just happened because it felt so like unreal.
Yeah.
It was like it was so cool. It was
Had you
super.
ever expected that you could have run that fast?
No,
No?
I was expecting like a 50.1 maybe, or maybe like a 49.8 or
Yeah.
something. Like I was like a 49.8 seems pretty reasonable. Like that's what I was expecting. Um, but no, I ran a 49.03 second 400-meter dash,
Right.
which for that won the 2A meet, that set a new state meet record, and that set the school record again. Like it was surreal. It
And the
was
nice thing
surreal.
here is it's fully automatic time, so
Yeah.
there's no more hand timing question
Mm-mm,
here.
not there.
Right.
Um, but it was like a moment of like, yes, yes, this is what I worked for. This is the reason I did it.
Right.
Right. It was the culmination of over a year at that point of hard work and dedication to myself and my career, my track career.
Awesome.
Um,
That's you tell a great story here because I mean you built it up and obviously came out with the big finish here. Uh
yes.
that I mean congratulations on that first of all,
Hey,
and
thank you
like I say you definitely built up the suspense, the tension, whatever very
for
well.
sure.
How
Thank
was
you.
your knee through all this, by the way?
Knee during track season was just fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to like hurdle on it
Right.
just because that's a very impactful motion. But I'm
Yes.
down with sprinting, coming out of blocks. My knee feels great right now. I mean, I put in the work. I did the ATG program for knees and stuff. Ben Patrick, he's
Yeah.
like a guy on Instagram. He's such good stuff for knees and all the split squats and the tibialis raises and stuff. Like if you like even like buy his book called Knee Ability Zero, got me good. Like that's all I needed to get better.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was good stuff
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, no, it was culmination of 9 months plus of work, and it paid off in the end.
Yeah. So yeah, I would imagine the feeling of satisfaction or the feeling of relief, maybe. I don't know. I mean, describe what all your feelings were after all
I
the
mean,
work
there
to
was
get
not
there.
really there's not really a word for it. I think it
Yeah.
was like it was a mix of like proud and satisfied,
Right.
and like happy and like like
Right.
like some emotions don't even have words tied to them. It was like, oh my goodness, what are like this is ridiculous. It's like
Yeah.
I just did that, and at that moment, it didn't feel real. I was coming off the track, and I was like, a Damon Thornton from Yuma. He was I ride against him all year long and stuff. And I was doing well. He was doing well, and he made the finals too. And I remember he came up to me afterward, and he gave me big hugs, like, bro, I am proud of you. And at that moment, the waterworks started a little bit. And I was like, I'm so like I like it was so emotional. It was almost
Right.
overwhelming. Um, but it was all
Yeah.
positive emotion though. It was so cool. I mean,
Right. And then you get to step up on the award stand.
that was that moment. That's a top 10 moment of my life right there. Right
Yeah.
now, that's sitting at top 10. I mean, that feeling of like achievement I felt at that moment in time, despite all the hardship I've been through with my knee,
Right.
it was surreal. So
Well,
cool.
awesome. Yeah. And you still had a little running to do after that.
Yeah, no, so I ran my 200 then. And I was dog tired. Talked about that already. And
Right.
then at
Right.
the end of the day, about was it like 3 hours after my 400, we were the 4x4.
Right.
And we were seated number one on the 4x4 too. So it's like, we got to do this now because I was still feeling a little bit from the 400. I'm like, I'm tired, but this is the last race of my high school career. I'm gonna just give it everything I got.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I did. We so actually Wyatt, Cash, and Reed played baseball that day too. So they actually flew out from Holyoke to Centennial Airport, got to state track just before the 4x4. And then flew back after. Like they like some guy in town had a little plane and they let him borrow it.
Your dad had told me the story here. That was
Yeah.
just fantastic. Because yeah, I talked to one of the Fort Collins coaches.
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
he had some kids on their team who had I think it was their graduation or something, and they
Really?
literally were like they timed it so they could rocket down I-25 and get to run their events, and he was
Yeah,
keeping his fingers crossed they were going to get there. But your dad had told me the story about somebody would actually, he said, well, it could take like 2.5 hours to drive, but they can get there in an hour if they fly this, somebody like would fly him in the plane. And I
that's
thought,
crazy. Yeah,
this is awesome. That is
yeah,
just great.
it's gonna be a cool story they tell their kids for sure.
Right.
But anyway, so they all so Cash was there. Wyatt was pitching actually at the baseball game.
Yeah.
He left like after inning five because they were up like 10 points or something ridiculous.
Right.
Um, and there was I was in the playoffs too. Like that was playoffs. They
Oh,
were they
yeah.
were they were doing very well. And so he left for state track and he showed up like an hour before, hour and a half before the race. And like I was already getting my warm up on because I was like I warm up like an hour before the race, like for an hour,
Right.
like getting it going. So I was like I was there and I was going. I see Wyatt came up behind me, gave me a big hug. He's like, bro, I'm proud of you, man. That was cool, good stuff. And that was a cool moment. And I was like, "Why? You're here, hey!" He was like, and he was all like, hey, "I'm proud of you." I'm like, "Right now, though, that's not the focus. Right now is winning that 4x4."
Yep.
So we started off that 4x4. And I remember standing on the side of the track because that's what we do at state. You stand on the side of the track, and like
Right.
as the 4x4 comes, you go to the exchange zone, or things like that, right? And
Which leg were you?
I was anchor actually.
Okay. All right.
So we were going. So Reed started off the race, and he got us around like I think it was second place. And then Wyatt got the baton, and he was cruising. I mean, he got us sitting in first, and Cash got it, and then Cash got it, opened the lead a little bit. And Cash is not a 400 runner generally. Like
Yeah.
he ran the 4x4, but he does not run open 400. And like he like had the best 400 leg of his life that time. We opened the gap by at least like 7 or 10 meters
Yeah.
um towards the end, and then I got the baton, and I was giving it my all. I was like, I'm gonna run this leg as hard as I possibly can. I think around the 49.5 that time, like the hand time leg for the 49.5,
Yeah.
which is, I
Nice.
mean, after running the 49.03, like 3 hours later running 49.5, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, no. So we won that. We won the race too. We won the race, the finals on
Yeah.
the 4x4.
Right. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. That's I mean, it's not only me though, it's my team.
Of course. Yeah.
And that was a good moment too. So I got 2 championships that year. This
Yeah.
year.
What was your team's time?
I don't want to tell you wrong. I do not want to tell you wrong. It was a 3. Here, hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. Um, Spring 23 event type 4x4. I have the max reps pulled up right here, so I cannot. So I don't want to lead you wrong. I think it was a 320 something. 327 was our time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so 327.4 is what it says here.
Okay.
So
So
that's what I'm seeing there.
so it was about the
Um,
same. Okay. I thought I was
yeah,
wondering if you
no, it
like
was it
dropped your
was
time there. Yeah.
it was quick. I think it was like a couple tenths faster.
Yeah.
Our finals were a couple tenths faster, which that's I mean it's how it goes at state. You run faster at state, everyone does.
Oh, yeah. No, we set
Um,
a lot of records at the state meet this year.
it
That's
was
for
it
sure.
was it was crazy. I'm
Yeah.
crazy proud of everyone who did it. I mean, yeah, no, it was a good meet, and it was a great way to end off my high school career. Absolutely,
Oh, heck yeah. And like you say, great reward after all the work you put in.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Congratulations, big guy.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. So what next? What's y-
So
yeah.
I signed to Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado.
Yeah.
I signed in February. I left that part so I could tell at the end. But I did sign in February, before the season started, and I got a little scholarship to go there. I was actually they're building a sprinting program this year, so I was like one. I think I was the first male sprinter to sign with them.
Oh, cool.
Um, which is that's a cool feeling. That
Yeah.
was like the startup program. I was the first sign with them. So running in the RMAC D2 at Fort Lewis College next year. Hopefully start to get my degree in secondary history education, and
Nice.
things will be good.
Yeah, well, the RMAC is a stout conference. For those
Yeah.
who don't know, you've got schools like Western State, Adams State,
Mm-hmm.
University of Colorado, Colorado Springs.
Yeah. No.
We have some
Mesa's pretty good too.
This has been very good in track lately. Yes,
Yeah.
so we got some very good competition there.
It'll
So
be fun. I'm excited. I'm
good
really
luck out
excited.
there. Yeah,
Hey, thank you so much.
yeah. Hey, you mentioned somebody earlier. I'm going to bring up to you here.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned your football coach Dusty, and I'm
Mhm.
guessing that might be Dusty Sprague.
Yes. Yep. That's Dusty Sprague. Yes, sir.
Dusty Sprague. So I am old enough to have seen Dusty Sprague run at state meet
Yep.
himself, and
Mhm.
he's kind of a legend in Holyoke, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'll give you that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
Legend of Holyoke. I
remember.
mean, I
Yeah,
think he played football in college and stuff like that. I mean,
he did.
he's like the football guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. He's a
I
legend.
remember him basically just about winning a state meet himself for Holyoke. I mean, he would
That was
like,
Russell. That was Russell.
oh, was it? Okay.
That was
But
Russell.
but
Yeah.
but Dusty,
His,
that stands out a lot to me. So I knew the name. So yeah, but
yeah.
you would just hear his name coming over the loudspeaker over and over and over.
Yeah,
So
that was Russell. And actually that they won a state meet. It was Russell and I think it was Russell. It was a Sprague for sure.
yeah,
Not sure which one, but it was a Sprague. And it was him and one other guy. And they won the meet by themselves. Two
right.
people won the state meet.
Yeah.
Like it was, and they like the guy, oh, go get your team, we have a picture. And they're like, this is our team. This is who is here.
So it
It's
wasn't
like,
just that these two guys like were the ones who scored all the points. They
yes,
were the entire team.
yes. No, they scored the points themselves. Like
Yeah.
they were the only ones there and they scored the points and won.
Wow. Okay.
That was cool.
I knew they scored all the points. I didn't realize that was it for the team.
Yeah, no,
Holy
that was it.
crap. That's insane.
That's a fun time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. That would
Especially
have
I
been
think
probably the 1990s, I guess.
yeah, sometime around there. I don't think it was quite 2000s yet, but
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what year, but it was
Right.
during my dad's high school career. So
Yep. And that was down in Pueblo too. Yeah. So,
mhm.
I mean, they inspirations or they mentors or anything to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's everyone in Holyoke's a mentor to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Um, everyone's here to support everybody, and everyone's. I think from what I see, I think that everyone's inspired by everyone too.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to be great, and everyone's working hard to be greater, and that shows
Yeah.
improvement.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that, in a way, I've been jealous of small schools about, in that
Mhm.
I've coached at some big schools where it's like, everybody's got something else to do that day, or
Yeah,
they come and go at the track meet, whatever. But the
yeah,
small towns, you guys pull together. It could be the football game. I mean, I honestly, I've never seen a 6-man or 8-man football game, but I've heard the stories about people picking up or pulling up their pull up pickup trucks and they park around the field, and
yeah,
the whole town is out there. And
yeah.
I would love to experience that
Yeah,
sometime,
no,
see
it's
what that's
it's
like.
it's
And
fun.
yeah,
I mean, Holyoke Homecoming is different. What's even better is like it's like the Holyoke Haxton game because Haxton's like our rival, and Haxton
yeah,
does play. They play 8-man, I think, but they step up to play 11-man to play against us, and they're really good. Like they won the championship last year, I think, for
yeah,
8-man. But that game, like there are rivals, like that's so fun. Everyone's so involved, so hype, regardless how the score is going. Like that's a fun time. I mean, small towns, like it's true. Everyone's so supportive of each other. Everyone can come together when during times of hardship, and um, yeah, no, it's a blessing and a curse for sure, but more of a
sure.
blessing, more of a blessing.
All right. Well, you are a part of the Legends of Holyoke now. So that was, I mean, congratulations on
Hey,
a
thank you.
wonderful comeback, and some great stories there. And obviously, yeah, as you said, winning the 4x4 is great event like that. It's
Yeah,
pretty special. But
absolutely.
yeah, everything you've done is great, young man. So
Hey, thank you so much.
congratulations to you there. What have we missed?
Um, I mean, that was all the sports talk, I guess. I mean, I think I hit pretty much everything.
All right. Well,
Doing
good. We
pretty
don't, we don't
good.
need to we've talked farming and everything else. So
Yeah, we talked farming, talked FFA, talked
yeah,
track.
to talk about the one stoplight and the subway and all that. So all right. So hopefully some people come out and visit you guys in Holyoke, and
For sure, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Love to have
So
them.
where can people follow you on social media?
All right. So at Cleve Max on pretty much everything. KLEVEMAX on
Right.
Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think is there's Max Cleve. You'll find me on Facebook
All
pretty
right.
easy. That's about it. Yeah.
TikTok.
TikTok, Cleve Max also. I mean,
Okay.
I
You
got
got
down
them
to a
all.
science at this point.
Funny thing,
um,
there's just no other Max Cleves out there. So you got it.
yeah, no, all the usernames Max Cleve is taken, but not Cleve Max, so it works out
Oh,
for me.
good thinking. All right.
Yeah, no, for
Well,
sure.
cool. Well, hey, thank you so much. I really
Hey, thank you
appreciate
for
your
having
time
me.
here.
Absolutely, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. This has been pretty special. And so,
Absolutely.
best of luck out at Fort Lewis and beyond. And say hello to your dad for me as well, please.
Yes, sir, will do.
Okay. So, thanks so much.
Of course.
Oh, wow. I just realized something.